I have been out in the neighborhood the last couple of days.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen
I
them.
get
Oh,
I need you.
Sir.
like obese.
Come on around.
I mean, you got 5 minutes. Like, open up a can of worms.
And I also speak.
5 minutes.
Low.
Good evening, everyone. It is 7:28. Please remember to put your phones on vibrate or devices on vibrate, silent, or the off position in anticipation of the 7:30 meeting.
So to speak. So.
So what they do now is it feeds the audio into the Zoom.
Oh, okay.
So we can pick it up when we are recording.
Okay, so there's no speaker in here?
I think so.
So this is recording through Zoom.
Oh,
And when you all speak in the mic, you pick it up.
oh, okay, man, cause I'm gonna mess mine up.
So once we get the ceiling, put in, then you can hear it. YouTube.
Well, you know, you can mute it till you're ready. You can always mute it.
It should be muted, yeah. Why? You can't find another chair.
We don't have, we're working on one, but we didn't get it in time.
Who switched that chair?
Bacon.
Oh, they keep coming back on this side. I had this on time. I grabbed that chair one time. And twisted.
It is 7:30 Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. We're now calling to order our historic Town of Eatonville regular council meeting. Mrs. King, do we have a quorum? Roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilman Randolph, I'm here. Councilman Daniels,
Present.
Councilman Washington,
Present.
Vice Mayor Daniels, and Mayor Martin.
Here. Please stand for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we thank you once again for this day that you have made. Thank you for allowing us to live, move, and have our being. We again want to thank you for this community, Edenville. For the bench. We again thank you for this administration. To lead us, guide us. by your profession, place your hand on and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval, but I do ask that we add one decision, and that is our March 19th meeting. That needs to be rescheduled.
Can we also move number 2 down to council decision?
Is there a motion for those two amendments to the agenda?
So move.
It's been moved in second. All in favor of those amendments?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So now we're ready for the approval of the agenda with the approved amendments.
So move.
It's been moved in second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, the agenda has been approved. Citizen participation.
Yes, we have in-house theory.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administrator, those in the audience. For the record, this is my second public comment, and I'd like to make these comments reflect the workshop that has passed, that has just been concluded, with the comments reference the Baker Barrios proposal and the comments that I talked about in terms of the analysis which had been done by a professional in the field. That workshop discussion actually brought forth a number of additional comments and reports, one from Mr. Presley about conversation with Christopher Cody with the National Trust for Historic Preservation, comments that were made by Councilor Ronald Daniels asking about the process in terms of how the fact that it's my understanding that Mr. Presley is going to be including the analysis as a part of the record, that this is a dynamic process, that the cake has not been baked. In fact, it's still being mixed up, if I can use my late grandmother's metaphor. And that being the case, I want to thank Mr. Presley for his review and his going back to staff. Because, as I said, my main concern always and without any hesitation is that we bring to the town of Eatonville the French expression, the crème de la crème, the very best, and that we really get the people who come to bring proposals before us, that they get accustomed to knowing that their work is going to be critiqued, that it's going to be critiqued at the highest levels, and that we in Eatonville, we're not stupid, we're not dumb, you cannot be condescending to us because we're intelligent and we're going to ask the right questions and require the highest standard. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Julian Johnson.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, citizens, how y'all doing? I'm Julian Johnson, 142 Lincoln Boulevard, founder 1887 First. And I will be speaking on a few things, be quick. So the proposal from Baker Barrios, of course, how I look at it is despise a free lunch. Just as simple as that. There's not much else to say when it comes to that. But for me, I work too hard for us to get here and go for the free and okie doke. So there's no point in even going down that route a little bit even more. But we're in need of help, real, help from somebody like an economist, somebody who can come and understand our community, right? So we need something better than what's being proposed. I just don't trust free things, also. That's my take on that. Also, we're going to have a candidates event. We're looking at March 12th so far, so everybody is invited. Our current council members, Randolph and Daniels will be invited as well. They are and have been invited through email. I just wanted to put it on the record. And Crystal and also Taurus Mac. So that will be March 12th. It'll be cookout style vibes. But we wanted y'all to be comfortable, right? We don't want to make it, so more so of like we're forcing you to do anything, but we want you to be comfortable in the community so we can understand everyone's vision for the town and where we're going forward. We want to make sure we're electing the right people for our town and for the future and someone who can make the right decision. So another thing I wanted to cover, just to go back a little bit, just wanted to know how the firm, was connected to our town pretty much. Out of, all of the options out here, how did they get connected with us? If they introduced themselves, was there any due diligence to connect with a firm that has the foundations of who we are as a people, where we come from, right? So that's one thing when it comes to me, like, everybody knows that the saying FUBU, for us, by us, right? So for me, like, I believe that we can come up with the plans ourselves and go out and hire the people to go and do the thing and do the due diligence that way. We know what's best for us. Nobody else does. So that's my take.
We have Mr. John Beecham.
Good evening. To step aside and elaborate on what NY said, Zoe Hurston writes in her memoir, Destruction on the Road, white Maitland and Negro Edenville have lived side by side for 55 years without a single instance of empathy. The spirit of the founders has reached beyond the grave. And I think that's why I'm here. And I apologize to you, Rodney, for being harsh the last time. It's just Edenville, man. I'm sorry. I love you. But I think like Baco's Barrios deal is a Trojan horse. And what I see in that Trojan horse is this. I see Mary Perry Dimmons in it. I see the school board official Karen Dento in it. I see someone in this room in it. There's a Judas in this room. I see those guys have made a deal. Also, let me see what I see. Operation Lift in it. I see Pulse in that Trojan horse. And they're gonna pop out and they're gonna put Okadoke on us again. They put Okadoke on us when they did the host time. We dropped the lawsuit. What happened? We got host time building, no impact fees. We received a demolished school. All from that deal, we demolished the trustee board, got $1 million and ran off and left us empty handed. That's just the bottom line. And I think NY and Julian just said it best. I think that we are intelligent enough to make a decision for ourselves. And I think the most important thing to me and the most beautiful thing that I look at my council members, I look at my mayor, and it's Black self-governance. That's what it is. There was a code back in the day to stop this from happening. And what the code was to make it hard to buy material, to buy land, to establish a Black township. It was hard to incorporate. But in 1887, 2 white guys and a brother named Joe Clark decided that we was better together. And so that's why I'm here tonight, to let you guys know that you have something very unique. There was over 800 started municipalities. It's down to less than 10. What you have is something special. And we don't need the Orange County Public School telling us what to do with our land. What we want is our land back. And what we want you guys to do is do your job and put it together. Like Julian, we have resources out there. There are people willing to help us achieve that. So I believe on my God missions while I'm here today. So I got a vision 13 years or 15 years ago that God had something he wanted me to do. I never knew it was Edenville. I didn't seek any of that. I'm not running for office. I'm not running for anything. This is free time that has caused Julian and our relationships, our friendships that caused with Rodney. A lot of things it's been burdensome, but the power of this means more than John Beecham. And so we have to fight for our right to party. This is historic Edenville, the oldest Black township in America. There's worse spiders on it.
That was oh, we have one more? I didn't get this sheet. And where did you? Is it one up there on the podium? It's not on the podium. Well, we have Angela Johnson.
Just take another piece of paper.
You do feel,
Good evening. Start my. So good evening, Mayor, council members, residents. I too am making comments on the agreement for the master plan with Baker's Barrios. So what I want to do is kind of draw a connection and try, I mean, John uses different words. I'm going to come along with my words, and you guys know I'm going to always show you some documents. So yes, Rodney, Baker Barrios has done something in our town. They're the architects of record for Host Don. Baker Barrios is also of record with a relationship with Schutz and Bowen, who they were the ones that had the Hungerford property application for the changes to the comp plan. So I want to make sure I'm drawing all of these connections. That particular attorney, Bakers and Barrios are together with Schutz. Schutz is the ones that was with the Falcon Group and the Hungerford people that came along for the comp plan agreement. And so now we're back in a relationship, potential relationship with Bakers and Barrios, who we know has been, their legal staff has been Schutz, who was the ones that filed the application for the comp plan amendment for the Hungerford property. So I would ask you to please keep all of that into consideration, because as Ms. NY just stated, we are intelligent individuals. Nothing that I'm showing you, I found this in a matter of a 5-minute search after it was brought to my attention to please dig a little bit deeper. So yes, the questions are still there. Why choose Bakers and Barrios? What is the value of the services for a complete master plan? Is it truly $220,000? Or what is the cost for something of a similar size? So are they undervaluing their service just to be able to get back in the door with us? Will they have a conflict of interest once that property is developed? And the question that I think we need to ask is, do we have ownership of the land yet? Can we even come up with a plan for something that we don't own? So I ask you those questions. Will you be able to see the water tower if you allow Bakers and Barrios to come up with a plan? Will there be a conflict of interest in the future from them even doing anything else on that property? Is it inclusive from this street down here, West Street, all the way down to Forest City Road? We're hearing different things. And then, so those are some of my concerns. And then, is this a contract that goes beyond the value or the cost of the $220,000? I challenge you to please look at the proposal in detail, and let's not rush into something what we have had a history of doing and then regretting it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have representatives.
All right, good evening, Mayor, good evening, Town Council, good evening, residents. I'm State Representative Bruce Antoni, and I'm here to just talk about one particular issue, the Florida Museum of Black History. This is a pivotal moment for Edenville. You've got 100 and some acres across the street. Y'all don't get this right, y'all are done. So with that said, this is a proposal that I gave to Mayor Demings back in July of 2023. This proposal proposed to put the Florida Museum of Black History here in the town of Edenville. And at the time, it included putting PEC inside that museum. Me and Ms. Matheri have since spoken, and so that won't happen. But we got another plan for that, a better plan for that, or she has a better plan. So with that said, there is no funding for this museum unless Bruce Antoni gets the funding. I was the genesis for this. I created the legislation that got the task force set up in Tallahassee. The task force will finish in June, and I can tell you right now, it is not going to finish with a complete report. Palm Beach just presented yesterday. They have $50 million on the table. St. Pete has about $20 million on the table on a potential partnership with the Diamondback baseball team. So I'm saying this, I'm the advocate for this museum. If I don't participate, nobody gets any money. Even if I drop out of this, there is no money for a museum. So what I had, the tentative deal I'd reached with Mayor Demings was, if I could get $30 million from Tallahassee for this museum, then he would ask the county commission for $30 million from the tourist development tax contingent upon the county commission voting on this. So we're talking about $60 million. It was my idea that we use the land across the street, the Orange County Public Schools land, to put this museum. And so this museum is not just a museum that I propose. It's an amphitheater seating 7,500 people on the corner. It's wedding chapels. It's a banquet facility. It's a 250-seat performing arts center. But the proposal that you all are looking to put together, it has to demonstrate sustainability, financial sustainability. It is not just a museum. It has to be financially sustainable. And so I'm just saying, y'all are up against some serious competition. And so I'm out of this, done my part. Y'all got a big task ahead of y'all. I hope y'all up for it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night, good people.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank
All right.
you. And that was the last one.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Council decision, approval of the conceptual master planning proposal.
We stated it in our workshop, and I don't have any further items unless there's some questions from council regarding what's been said.
All right, so we'll go ahead and put the motion on the floor, second, and then we can open up for discussion. Is there a motion for the approval of the conceptual master planning?
Second with discussion.
It's been moved and seconded, Councilman.
Attorney Shepherd, let me hear your, because I heard you had a part of it with this Baker and Burials.
I don't know what you mean by having a part
So
of it.
can I set it up where you're going with it?
Mhm.
Regarding the actual proposal that was presented by
Okay.
Baker and Barrios,
Right,
your review of it and your thoughts on the procurement portion.
okay. Yeah,
Well, before you actually start, should this have gone out for, quote or proposal?
the type of services that are being offered, I'm not sure, there are a couple of types of things that need to go out for proposals. So for example, architectural services, and I think they are providing some of those, engineering services. I think landscape architecture is also a part of what is required under the state law for having a bid process. Other than that, it would be your internal purchasing processes, whatever they are. And so usually, but I don't know if Eatonville has those, there are thresholds that require, beyond X amount of money for whatever the service is, that you might have a proposal process. But there are exceptions to that. As an example, you all know how I got selected. I was just selected. And that is, you can do that for certain kinds of services unless you have a policy against it. There's no state law against it. In terms of the Baker Barrios idea and having them do the work, that what I was tasked with is looking at the proposal and seeing if it really was what they said it was. I'm not speaking for or against the people who came to the podium, but it was essentially, is this free? Is it really free? And are we getting services that we can use because they are free? And I concluded that yes, you can use the services, and yes, the contract, such as it is, really does say for free. Now, there's a portion of concern, and I can't remember whether I raised it now or not, because it's been several months since I looked at it. But there was a concern that I had internally, because in contract law, you have to have consideration, meaning that you'll see contracts that say for $10 and other good and valuable consideration. Now, the actual money paid might be several times that, and, multiples and multiples of that. Or it may literally be just the $10, or it may be that the $10 is a made up number and nothing actually changes hands. But as a legal matter, it's cited so that there's what's called a bargain for exchange. That's kind of the basis of a contract. And because the Baker Berrios contract says throughout it, 0 is being charged, how do you hold somebody to a contract where they're not being paid anything? As I reasoned my way through it, the answer that I came up with is that they are being able to promote, I guess you'd say, their involvement with the project, and there will be some collateral benefit there. And it would have to be tested in the court to see whether that would hold up as a judge if we tried to enforce the contract against them for which they were not receiving dollars from us. But that's a sort of a separate legal issue. As a practical matter, when you're having someone who's willing to do a service for 0, if you deem them to be qualified, you have no issue.
So our threshold, as you stated, is 25,000, correct? And so even though it's an in-kind amount of $200,000+, would that still fall back into it, even though it is an in-kind? It still has a value on it.
It has a value for sure. Whether it's pulled out of their thoughts or whether that's actually a market value, I don't know. But again, it's a donation. It's not, and so arguably anybody who donates anything to the town of value could trigger the threshold of, oh, well, we can't accept this new fire engine because we got to go bid it. Again, it's not logical and therefore not required by the law.
So
Now, if you didn't think it was value, if you thought, that they're not qualified, they don't do the services the way we want them, and you reject them, you could also do that. And you could certainly put it out for a bid, and they might come in and provide a bid that's also 0. I mean, that could be done, but it's not required because it is presumptive that you can't outbid 0.
So in question in workshop, I brought the thing, could there be a potential conflict of interest down the line with this?
Well, if you say potential, then the answer is always got to be yes if someone's being honest with you. And the reason why is because, I represent the town today. And so far, I've got no conflicts. I could be fired next week and I could be representing a developer sitting on the side of the podium. I wouldn't, but I'm just saying there's a potential conflict there. And so there's always a potential. And when you're a firm like Baker Berrios or whether you're any other planning firm, I'm trying to remember the Cliff Tate's firm, but Kimley Horn as an example, or whatever, because they all work for developers and governments all the time, there's always a potential for conflict. The real question that you need to answer is, if the standard is, have you ever worked for somebody who was against us? Well, everybody would be disqualified. Is it possible in the future you'll work for somebody who's against us? Yeah, they'd all be disqualified. If they're good firms, they get hired to do work by a lot of different folks. It is personal ethics and or the ethics of their profession. Some are more strict than others of the law profession, which some people would think is a joke, but it's true. We have significant ethical rules that prohibit us from taking adverse action against clients. In other professions, it's not quite the same. And so if the standard is they could have a conflict, yes, they could. The question is, would they accept it under the circumstances? That's a question that is unanswerable. I heard somebody mention the firm Schutz Bowen. They're a firm well known for representing developers. They also represent governments. And so that they worked with the Baker Berrios or any of a dozen other planning firms that I could mention wouldn't surprise me. In fact, it would surprise me if they hadn't worked with them. And so I'm not trying to minimize anybody's thought about this, but it's a factual statement that if you are a firm that does government stuff, whether it's on the development side, the government side, the planning side, you're going to have been involved with a lot of folks where sometimes there's going to be the potential for there to be conflicts. And then it's how the individual professionals handle that conflict. As I've already mentioned, even though I could take a case against the town, I would never do it. But that's me. I can't speak for anybody else.
Thank you.
And just to close that out, and as was stated in the memo, both memos that we received from PEC, as well as the memo I have, will be attached to this pending the approval of it, that will show the support moving forward to consider and to include the communities, as well as any experts that would want to come forth to assist with this process as we go forward. So it won't be just someone making a plan for the town without the town. I don't want that to be the presumption or the thought process of this. This will include as many of the residents that would love to be a part of in the process, from planning, from process to the finished product. So it won't just be, hey, come draw us a plan and we go with that. No, this is, hey, come meet with us, hear what the unique thoughtfulness of this community requires, and then talk about those items, which have already taken place in several charrettes with the same individual sitting in this room with our recovery plan. So all those things will be included in this process for us. And when it's finished, it will be approved by us. And so I think that needs to be understood, that this is not just someone just going to do this for us and then we just accept what they say. This is the community working. That's why the language is very clear in there, that it requires that in order for it to go forward. And of course, in any community, you always want the residents and the community's input on how that results, the entire community. And so we're making it available to the entire community to do that.
I have one question.
Yes.
Where's the planners? Where's the planners?
I did not bring them in tonight. I could have brought them in. I did not bring them in just because it was a conversation through workshop. The other gentleman was supposed to come, but I did not get a response.
So you're talking Tara can't come either?
Tara could not be here tonight. She has some family issues, but she would have been here.
So is it possible, will it cause conflict to table this until the next meeting?
It won't cause any conflict, but I'm not sure what we're tabling to do different.
You don't think that we will want to get insight from Tara and be able to ask them up?
Her information is included in the document that was presented. If you're just wanting to hear it from her, I'm more than willing to do that, but that's a decision you also make. That's what you're saying.
You said Tara information in here?
Yes, it's included in the report. The revisions on it are in the revisions that you're looking at in the actual proposal are her responses to Baker Barrios, which was included.
I mean, I don't see her, what she wrote. I mean,
It's a part of the document.
it's
These are
okay,
the
it's words in there.
dates.
Okay.
So if you're asking, did she write a separate document? No, that's included in the revisions of it. That was more of the administrative portion of that. Now, as we move into the community portion, that's where we'll have input from the community on it.
So I would just like to pose to everybody if we can table it till next meeting. I would love to have Tara here to ask more in-depth questions and all that.
I guess for me, I'm not understanding it. Because I said, when we did the master planning, the smaller master planning with the other architectural firm, and they literally went through these same steps. And if you literally read the document, all of the steps involve not just the community at large, but even small pockets of the community. Like, it's being built pretty much by the community, guided by the Polis Institute, which we have interacted with before, just as a moderator or facilitator. And the document is built by Baker Barrios, but it's with us. And it's not that I don't hear your concerns. I'm just not. And I'm going to say this, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. We keep, and I've said this before, we keep finding people, oh, I'll do this, oh, I'll do that. And just because they don't, doesn't mean we do this, but we have something in writing. And we can go on for the next century of people with good hearts and good intentions, but I don't see any slight. And this is not just for the Hungerford property, this is for the whole town. So, I mean, it's more to this than just that acreage. I'm not seeing it. But I do hear your concerns, but I'm not seeing it in regards to how this process will work on almost every page stakeholder. If they didn't do it and another person did, even if we paid them, they still have those same connections that Baker Berrios is gonna have. The arguments just aren't logical. And I'm just saying that, they're not logical. I mean, so I mean, cultural, even with, we talked about this before, even if you're talking about how the landscaping should be, if you're talking about the cultural and social aspect of our town, I mean, definitely important to me, and you know that. I don't see the threat. I don't see the threat. The threat will only come if we just take things blindly and we have no input in it and we go, yeah, okay. I don't see this as a yeah, okay. I see this as a, okay, get us started. Let us tell you what we want. This is what we feel passionate about, and this is what we want included. I see them then looking at it again, coming back to you again. That's what this is saying, if I'm not the only one that read it. So, I mean, I just think it's a matter of you individually knowing what this document states and then going from there, not from conversations being had. And that's what I hear. That's what I hear. I hear conversations being had, but I don't know how many have really read the document, because it reads like any other master planning group that has done this work. You know, and I do hear you, and I do feel your concern. But me above all people, first thing I said, what do they want? What do they want? But this is a document. A document can't harm you. It's moving blindly and just going by listening. That's what's gonna harm us. That's what's gonna harm us.
I think, the planner is here to, do a presentation, let us know about this here. You're doing a good job what you're doing, but you're not the planner. I want to hear from the planner. The pros and cons of it. I know it's a pros and cons on this situation.
Okay.
I totally hear from her.
Okay.
That's what we pay these people for, to come in here and present these things. To say planner, the planner should be here to give the presentation, not you or the mayor or myself.
Okay.
So I would like to see the planner present this to us, and I'll go from there.
All right, so,
I think all parties involved in this process needs to be here. So that way, we can ask, adequate questions, because without those individuals, we would be voting upon something that probably has been unseenable. And also it'll give the community a chance to digest whatever is going on here, and also to ask more specific questions. I did read the information, Mayor, on this, and, everything to me seems like it's pretty well spelled out. And I don't want people to get into this comparison. We went through a lot during the era of the Hungerford property. There was a big difference between what we went through there at that time and what we're going through now. The Hungerford property, the developers did not follow the comprehensive plan. Here, we have a plan. So we're gonna have to try to, balance as to what we should do, because I'm afraid that with us prolonging this over and over, it's almost 2 years now, and we have not accomplished anything here in on this level as far as the town moving forward. And it's time for us to move forward. Nothing is going to be perfect, everybody. Nothing is perfect. We have to start somewhere. But if we start somewhere, we will give you the opportunity to share into this collaboration between the community as to what we want and what we want to see. What is best for our town? We're never going to be able to move forward if we keep pushing things back. I ran because I wanted the town to move forward. I wanted to see good things. I didn't want to see a two-lane road with just a few little houses and little square buildings. I wanted to see beautification. So that's my recommendation, and that's my feelings about this project. I just want the town to move. It's time for us to get up and move. Everyone else is going around us, and we still sitting here talking about the same thing day in and day out. and not get it anywhere. Thank you.
So your recommendation to go forward? What's your recommendation?
No, I thought I heard someone say table. Did we,
You saying go forward? I'm saying,
I'm saying let's go forward.
oh, go ahead. Go forward.
So on the floor right now, there is a motion to approve it. So it's been moved and seconded. So we're gonna go ahead and finish the motion. So it's
Have a vote.
have a vote. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of the proposal, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Hey,
Can you call the roll, please? Thank you.
Councilwoman Randolph,
I'm for it. Yes.
Councilman Daniel,
Nay.
Councilman Washington.
Nay.
Vice Mayor Daniel.
Aye.
Mayor Garden,
Aye.
motion passed.
I will say this, because there is a concern, if you want to speak, then even though it's passed, then
Either way, I'll
let's
still,
get those concerns
I will
addressed.
still bring at the next workshop, I'll bring the items for council, bring the planner as well as Baker in to have further discussion in the workshop.
Well,
What for, what for?
can I,
Was you?
so let me
It's done.
tell you my concerns with it. From day one, when we started this, talking about any master plan and all that, I was specific about saying, don't bring this at one time at the end. It should have been continuous throughout the process. And when I get a document showing me that you had 4 revisions and it didn't come to me, that's a slap in the face.
Next item is for the March 19th meeting. Do we cancel the meeting for March? Do we move it to the next week because we had the CRA meeting, I think, on the 20th? We moved that to the 28th. So do we want to move it to the 26th? What is the pleasure?
27th would be that Tuesday.
26.
20
26 is Tuesday.
26.
19 plus 7 is
I'm looking at
26.
February 2024.
March.
No, it's on March.
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 Should be for March.
You looking for March. I said great. Be the 26th.
So what's the pleasure? Do we move it to the 26th or do we cancel?
Let's move it to the 26th.
All in, can I just see a show of hands, moving it to the 26th? All right, that's cool. Wait, do we need to vote on that, or can we just, do we need to vote on that? Attorney? Okay, that's fine. All right,
I have
so,
it in the notes.
all right, so the March 19th moving. That's it for the agenda. Staff comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, at the Black History Month, there were several things that staff did internally to support that on several days this week. And so we're thankful for the staff for that. We did have a successful Meet the Chief event that took place last night, well attended, as well as Chief which he's already done for the actual council, but he presented the 100-day plan to the community. And they had a raffle off of a television in support of their community policing initiative that they're getting ready to push out through the grant from the Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Justice for that grant. Also, we've already talked about the water improvements opportunities that we have, so that's coming forward. I do want to state that we have a stakeholders meeting on the 26th of this month at 5:30, which will be also covering solid waste issues that the community has been having. You should have received a flyer from a door-to-door initiative to address and to make sure everyone's fully aware of how to place out the garbage, which days and which days and what items should go out on for the community. So you should have received that as well. We do have, again, as they stated, we did receive the criteria for the Florida Museum of Black History. So we are working with the team now to start putting that presentation together. That is due on March 15th. It is just a document, and so I'll make sure once we have the final draft that we'll present that to council before that's released to them. Talk to those items. I'm just checking my list to make sure I covered everything on the items for that. There has been some more movement on the pool, so that's moving along. as far as the covering and the additions to that. So we are still on pace to have a spring grand opening for that. So we'll start maybe workshop that to kind of get some more details on what items you all would like to see for that event to reopen the pool this spring. And with that, I will say that's all my items. Thank you and have a good night.
Attorney.
Shockingly, I don't have much to add tonight, except that I'm always glad to be here.
Councilman Daniels.
First off, thank everybody for coming off. Condolences to the White and Dix family. What's the update on the salary study?
It is still underway with staff. Our new HR director has met with the company Neil Gov, and they are working out the final numbers.
So now we're about 5 months in now on this.
Mhm.
And I thought the turnaround time was supposed to be like 2 to 3 months, so.
Pending getting the information is just going on longer than we expected with all the other items that staff's working on with that.
What's the status on the impact fees?
As we stated, we'll do the workshop in March. That's on our March agenda workshop for the
And,
impact fees.
okay, and the moratorium is over when?
May, I forget the date in May, but I believe it's at the end of May.
Are we gonna meet that deadline?
No,
Absolutely.
they stated in the
not.
last meeting that.
I'll be bringing up to a March meeting for the 2 March meetings, a draft extension. So we can get through and hopefully I'll know how long I need to extend it by then.
Anyone have any acknowledgement of what, State Rep Antone was talking about? Has he had communication? Cause I know I've talked to him about 3 months ago about it, so where did the breakdown in communication happen? Do we know?
I don't think any breakdown in communication. I think he was just stating where status is because there are other communities that are presenting viable options and he wanted the council to know where that stood.
So to my knowledge of talking with him, he have had conversations and asked for stuff and wanted meetings and all that, and it really hasn't. So I don't know.
From my meeting, from the time he's asked for me, I met with him. He did mention in previous times he met with mayor, and then there was a fall off, and then it was back going once we actually moved. So I can't speak to that.
That's all I have. I'm just gonna end it again over people over politics.
Councilwoman Randall.
All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, I have a couple things. I'm trying to get through these very quickly. Okay, first of all, I would like to find out from the Zora event, any pending payments that we have.
Yeah, we do have a pending payment for the police department. That has not been taken care of as of yet. And also for the, I believe it was $5,000, as well as a bill from the Denton Johnson that hasn't been paid. So we're still waiting to pay.
Okay, so the documents that I saw stated that it states that $22,000 were a total amount, but 50% was paid on January 22nd. What is that?
So we did an estimate of the 22,000. We didn't know what all would take place. And so we did an estimate based off of what was expected. Based off what ended the department, the police department actually put the proposal in, what was left that was owed was $5,000.
So when we be able to collect those funds?
We're wait. I know documents from our department has been sent to PEC, and we're waiting additional information to proceed forward.
Mrs. NY, you know, we'll be able to get those funds?
Wait, can you go ahead, just go ahead and finish? And we can get that information.
Yeah. We're actually waiting to meet again, I think, and I'll talk with Ms. NY afterwards about another meeting date, but we're still waiting those funds.
Okay, have our police officers been paid yet?
I would have to ask Chief. I'm not sure to the extent of how that is taking place.
Okay.
And he was unable to attend tonight, so he probably could have answered it.
Okay, also, one resident in Kelly Park had mentioned about children going to school from Kelly Park down Kennedy to Hungerford. And he was just concerned about law enforcement activities as far as being in that area to avoid any potential risk of our kids walking down the sidewalk by themselves. So we'd like to look into that.
Okay.
Okay, also, well, I'll mention the other issue with you. the waste containers, where are we with waste containers?
We have reached out, and Valerie may can talk a little bit more, but I know we have reached out to them in regards to the addition. You're talking about the recycle bins?
The business owners,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're speaking on
the
the
dumpsters.
dumpsters.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I think information has been submitted to legal. We're waiting their review for the amendments to it, and then we'll bring it back before council.
Okay. I'm still waiting on the homeless ordinance.
That's on our agenda. It's being reviewed, and once we get final review on that, we'll bring that back before as well.
Okay, and also, right now, we really need to start planning for Juneteenth, if we're gonna have a Juneteenth celebration.
I did receive a document this week that I need to speak with those. They were asking about potentially doing the parade again. So I'm getting that information together, and we'll see where we go. But I will start following up on that.
Okay, also, the system for public record requests. It still seems that we're getting a little behind at times. Do we have the process in place so that way when it's sent out to those departments, what is the process for them to get the information back?
So, and I can let the clerk speak on that too. What we have right now is we're updating our file banks to do a more robust way of having certain information available ready on our website for public records requests for certain items. But as far as the process on that, we are internally working to improve that better. I think to date, I don't think we have as many as were out, but we do still have a few that will still have pending information.
Okay, all right,
But we are working on that process to make it even more
That's fine.
efficient.
all right, that's it, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to say good job to Mrs. Mundy. Thank you very much for your efforts and what you do. Thank you.
Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Mayor. I thank everybody for coming out this evening. I think it was just, one day. That's be earning your pay. That's what I tell people. We've got people up here doing work for a chance, for now. So, thank you. Yeah, I think the 24th Chambers having an event. Right? So that begin on 24th. Come out at 24th. And my condolences out. Condolences go to the families that lost loved ones.
Vice.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My condolences also to those families. And that's my.
Again, my condolences, and just in all honesty, to address Councilman Daniels, I have no idea what Representative Antone is speaking of, because I'm sure that my conversations with him have been the same with you, the same with Mr. Presley, the same with everyone. But it doesn't really matter if we don't get the land, that it's kind of hard to determine where any museum of that magnitude would go. That's number one. Number two, this planning process will help that whole process. And we need to get that going as well. That's one of, not because it's free, but because it is needed and it's by a reputable company. But again, I want to tell everyone, I do hear your concerns and I hear what you said, but we need to get moving. We need to get moving. We argue everything down and we have all these other suggestions, but it just stays in the air. It just stays in the air. We use things as leverages until we get what we want. And I think that's kind of what we heard tonight, which kind of took me aback. And it doesn't matter who it is, but just like I wouldn't want someone inside the town take advantage of the town, I don't want anyone outside of the town take advantage of the town. And I'm not sure what I heard tonight, but it's not sitting right with me. So maybe I misunderstood. But condolences to everyone. Miss Mundy. Bad Mama Jones. It's a song about you. Everyone drive safely. And with that, I move for adjournment.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. It is 8:21. We are adjourned.
That was actually.